My name is Ralph White. I'm an alcoholic. I guess this gave me a flashback. Many, many years ago in Palm Springs, Leslie was speaking, and they put the mic up here like that. I'm not going there. I am not going there. That is strictly a woman, and I'm not going there. Thank you, guys. My name is Ralph White. I'm an alcoholic. And I want to thank you guys for asking me to come out. Tommy actually kicked us off, so I don't get to, kind of play with this. The Alpha and the Omega, rather vain of us, wasn't it? Right? But I want to thank you guys for a wonderful weekend at the Jersey Shore. I remember when this was an idea, a concept in Jimmy's mind. And you guys know how to do it. I give one of these conferences too. And Jimmy, I got to tell you, I get envious, I get jealous, I get resentful. I did a fifth step with Bob the other day. I should have put you on my inventory because you know how to throw a party. And I just want to walk in your footsteps. I am grateful, you guys. And I like the reading. I probably would have gone like we always do in the 12th step, probably would have gone maybe for the promises in the 12th step or first paragraph in the chapter working with others. But I like that piece out of Vision for You. Shoulder to shoulder, forging friendships, because that has been what this has felt like. I've been gone for a couple of years. All the speakers, they got a chance to come up here, and a lot of us have been Zooming and have met people we met on Zoom, and it's been a remarkable experience, But to get reminded of just what I found in this walk with you guys. And to get full. I'm still, one of my saving graces in Alcoholics Anonymous is I'm still an AA junkie. I love conferences. I love speaker meetings. I still love the storytelling. I like it when you guys tell your stories. I like the rhythm of storytelling in Alcoholics Anonymous. There's an art to telling. It's an art to listening. We have some people in here who are, I'm looking at Marion, a songstress, writer, and the rest. And there's, I always, and Peter was talking about it too, I played in band in junior high school, and I didn't play nothing sexy that you could get. I played baritone horn, but I always wondered about that creative deal. And in Alcoholics Anonymous, you guys, there's a rhythm to listening to our storytelling, right? Because at the beginning of the story, it's all over the place. Sometimes it's exciting, sometimes it's crazy, like Amy's story, oh my God, sometimes it's kind of like it's kind of a dull, little quiet theme, like to me, that's what my song is, and sometimes tragic. I listen to Peter, his mom, when I heard when Peter painted the story, looking at his mom, then looking at her in the jacket, then the suicide, and me and Pete have known each other a long time, and I felt it, just the rhythm of the storytelling. And so the front end is different, and then though we all hit a refrain, we all hit that same thrill is gone, ain't no sunshine, it's and that lasts a long time. That part of the story for some of us is a long time, ain't no sunshine, just a long time, And then we get that other piece. We call it, in that what it used to be, what happened. I like the what happened. I like the what happened. My daddy somehow found me on a street corner. And what happened sometimes is like I was walked away in them bracelets, or I was put out the house, or I found myself. What happened, when it's happening, it's not a good thing. But I like that. And all of us who get into the rhythm of storytelling in Alcoholics Anonymous, we like it too, because we know what's getting ready to happen after the what happened. You're getting ready to come to us. And see, I'm a sucker for a happy ending. And I know what's going to happen after you get to us. And so I love the storytelling. I love the way Tommy broke it down and took us on a journey. And there's still some pieces that just stand out to me. Because the guy that told the story is not the guy I know. Deadbeat dad. That ain't the guy I know. Stand-up guy. The guy that told the story. When I listen to Marion and talking about how she was with her kid, that's not the lady I know. And I, transformational stories. And you guys have got a lot of information from this podium this weekend. A lot of information. And if you go to enough meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous over the years, you'll get a lot of information at our meetings. We're really good at that. But that's not the power. That's not what has held me with you for these past 35 years. The information is cool, but I've stuck around for the transformation, and I see transformation best in the ladies. Because, Amy, you're not your story. Marty, you're not your story. I'll be looking at the ladies before we get ready to do the conference, and I'll be looking. I say, Cheryl, what you doing up in here with us? And, what you doing up in here? And then you hit this podium, I'll be like, ooh, baby, please, don't you leave us. You know what I'm saying? It's like the transformational stories. And so we're storytellers, And our story really began, we had some amazing people take us through it this weekend. And our story, and I know what I'm here for, I'm going to get there. But our story, our collective story, and I don't like doing this in a place like this because you guys, we got some people up in here that'll take me to school, So when you go to a conference like this, it's always kind of dicey to get into your version or what's the version, because somebody will check you in the line. That ain't what happened. It wasn't it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? But our story really started in 1934 in December, about a month from now. Anybody that's new or unfamiliar, there's a lot of familiar people in here. And Cheryl, thank you for filling in. You did a wonderful, amazing job. I'm looking around, but thank you for that 10 and 11. But our story began and was talking about, did I say Cheryl? I'm talking about Karen's sponsor now, But anyway, our story began in 1934. She was talking about in stepping stones. So, and that's also a bone. You got the New York faction, you got the Akron faction. And in New York in 1934, a gentleman found himself in a hospital, either third or fourth time that year, Towns Hospital, New York. And he had gone there because his old lady's brother, Dr. Leonard Strong knew some people there, had some pull, because he didn't have no money. He asked out. He's one of us, and he had it bad. He had been going in and out of there, several times, and he go up in there in December of 1934, and something remarkable happens to him up in there. Curiously, or not so curious, coincidentally, a friend of his had visited him that November. And this buddy of his used to get loaded with him, right? He used to get down, really do some crazy things. And when Ebby Thatcher showed up at Bill Wilson's house, he was sober, blew him away. In fact, it was so amazing. He said the kind of things that people like us say when we've been in the life a long time. When he saw his boy sober, he said he wasn't himself. Remember when that was like if one of your buddies had seen you sober, Ralph, who are you? I don't even know. He was the sober state. Bill said he wasn't himself. And he said, I know he going to try to preach at me. He going to try to, because Ebby Gabe dropped a religion word on him. I know he going to preach. I got enough gin. I'm cool, right? But he ain't do no preaching. And anyway, a month later, he lands back in Towns Hospital. Third or fourth time. And something happened to him in the hospital this time, you guys. Something amazing. He would later describe it as a white light experience. I'm glad it happened to him and not to me, because if something like that had happened to me, I'd have chalked it up to a PCP flashback. I wouldn't have called Silkworth and said, Doc, I'd have been like, I'm scared they're going to, and we wouldn't have AA. So thank God. It happened to the right person at the right place with the right doctor. Because when he called the doctor and told the doctor what happened, the doctor didn't say, dude, you having one of these hallucinations, you having one. The doctor, check this out. It didn't happen to the doctor. The power of the power. This grace is grace. No matter what it's dressed up in, no matter when it come, how it come, grace is grace, and the power of it is so compelling. What happened didn't even happen to the doctor. For those who don't know, Bill Wilson had this experience in the middle of the night. He felt like a cold wind blew in the room, and the windows were closed. A white light came on, and so he called the doctor and said, "Am I losing my mind?" You would think the doctor said, "Probably," because he had seen him. He had been seeing him for a while, right? But the doctor, this didn't happen to the doctor, you guys, but the power of this power was so, the doctor from the outside looking in said, you know what? I don't know what happened to you, but you would look good holding on to it. And here's the other part of that, that is part of the ongoing miracle in that process. The next thought that came to do, self-centered, selfish, scared of religion, scoffer of religion. Man, don't try to hit me. The next thought that came to this selfish, self-centered dude was, I might try to find somebody to help. And so he went out looking for people like me and you. It's been estimated, and he'd go out preaching because all he had, he don't have what we have. He don't have one drunk. He don't have any of this. He got white light experience. That's what he got. So that's what he's selling. So he go out and he look for drunks in New York, and he hollering at them. You need to have this white light. You need to have this. And then, man, you messing them out. Go somewhere. Go. Don't miss me with that, And so he not successful at all. It's been estimated, and I don't know. He probably didn't keep count because he wasn't successful. It's been estimated he hollered at anywhere from 75 to 96 drunks, in this period that he's going out. And ain't nobody, everybody know the story. He come tell Lois, ain't nobody getting sober, and Lois tell him, dude, you are, But so in this period of time, he's getting back on his feet, right? And he was in he was stockbroker, hustler, Bill Wilson was salesperson. That's why we are who we are. Thank God those two gentlemen. One was a hustler, salesperson, and that's why we are where we are. And one was like the spiritual guy, the rudder, the anchor, the voice of reason. So they made a good team. But anyway, it's 6 months ago, and these people Bill used to do business with put together a business opportunity. They said, we want you to represent our interests out in Akron, Ohio, on this proxy battle, right? And so if you go out there and you handle this business, we're going to set you up. And Lord knows he needed to be set up. They've been losing they'd have moved I don't know how many times in the past couple of years. It was crazy. So he go out to Akron and his business don't come off too well. And he found himself in a hotel lobby, the Mayflower Hotel. And he got thirsty. I think Steve Lee was sharing about that. He was standing in the lobby of the Mayflower Hotel, and he got thirsty. He's discouraged. Imagine you trying to get sober. You don't have no fellowship. You don't have no track record. You don't have no experience with this I'm going to successfully beat this thing. You don't have none of that. You one guy, that's gone 6 months on his own and thirsty. And you get this opportunity to come up, because we all want to come up when we knew, right? That's the first thing we're thinking about. get my house back, get a job, get a career, stop my old lady from having to go out and work at Walmart or whatever department stores Lois was working at. Man, when is it going to be my turn? So now you get this big thing, and if you Ralph and you go out here and it fall apart, you say, like I knew it. I knew it. Wasn't going to be nothing to this. I don't even know why I'm trying. Can you imagine? So he's standing in the lobby, and he's thirsty, with probably that kind of stuff running through his head. Because he could hear the ice clinking in the glasses, right? Could see the bar. And they hear the gay chatter, is what he described as, coming from the bar. And we know what's in the bar. Answer is in the bar. In 1929, when people were jumping off what he called the towers of high finding, when people were killing themselves, he said, I wouldn't kill myself. Jim would fix it. That's my answer. I don't trip. When things get hard, I know where to go. I got an answer, But thank God, alcohol had done what it is that it does. But he's standing in that light, and a thought came. The power of the power. When grace comes calling, a thought came. Strange thought. He had been hollering at drunks for 6 months, telling them, I need to get them sober. He said, I've been trying to get drunk sober for 6 months with no success. I need to find a drunk. He said, I have been trying to find a drunk to stop them from drinking. I need to find a drunk so I don't drink. That's Alcoholics Anonymous. I need to find a drunk so I don't drink. We don't work with others to get them sober. We work with others so we stay sober. Now, the paradoxes in AA are so cold because there's an innate selfishness in that. So even when I'm working with the other man, I constant thought of, my very life as an ex-problem drinker depends on my constant thought of others and how I can. So that's a crazy, we work with others so we stay sober. But no, that ain't my motive when I'm going up in there. I ain't selfishly going. I'm going up in here because my constant thought of, don't trip, Just get on the merry-go-round, you guys. Welcome to the contradictions of Alcoholics Anonymous. We're a paradoxical society. We surrender to win. That's what it is that we do up in here. So we don't. And what it ain't is a selfish program. Even though that sounds like a selfish sentence, we work with others so we get so. But that's so. He said, I need to find a drunk so I don't drink. Bam. Program turned on a dime. And so that is what it is we do. And so when he did, through a series of coincidences, he got in touch with a lady. And this lady knew a doctor that was one of us. And he met that doctor, and the doctor said, when they were driving to meet Bill Wilson, so I'm going to give this dude 15 minutes. He told Lois, after about, how you might tell your old lady, call me after 15 minutes, so I don't have to fool with. And that 15 minutes turned into about 5 hours. And those two gentlemen set about looking for people like me and you. And as a result of those efforts, and as a result of standing in that hotel lobby, practical experience shows nothing ensures immunity from drinking as much as intensive work one alcoholic with another. This works when all other measures fail. That does not mean we don't cause spines. We cause spines. That does not mean we don't put pen to paper. We put pen to paper. That does not mean we don't keep our H&I commitment. We keep our H&I commitment. That does not mean we don't go to meetings. We keep going to meetings. Most of the time, those things do what it is we need done. But when all those things fail, and it's on me, it's still on me. I can't get it off me. I can't shut it down. Nothing ensures immunity. This works when everything that we do, when we say if sex is particularly troublesome, we turn our thoughts to somebody we could help. When we finish up in the 10th step, it says, we watch, then we discuss immediately, we make amends, then we turn our attention resolutely to somebody. We got every step of the way. It talks about turning my attention. It says when we do amends, our real function is to fit ourselves to be a maximum service to somebody else. Our very life as ex-problem drinkers depend on our constant thought of others and how I can meet their needs. If the alcoholic fails to enlarge and perfect his spiritual life through self-sacrifice and working with others, he won't be able to survive the pandemic. He won't be able to make it through COVID. He won't be able to make it through divorce. He won't be able to make it through giving fire. He won't be able to make it through hard times. He won't be able to because when these show up, because they're going to show up, because I'm in life. I signed up for the duty. I'm an active participant. I'm not scared of that, but there's an antidote and there's a message. So that business of 12 step, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we got a promise. And that promise, if you're new, and we had a lady that stood up for 5 days last night, our newest person, and I can remember some of the times. And this is a full house, full room, and I like it. I always like it. And I know there was so many people standing up here with a lot of days, and I know this is post-COVID, so it's hard to find our new ones, and I know next year is going to be. Jimmy, I kind of miss it when I forget whatever table it was. And I used to be able to talk to table number whatever. And table number 14 or table number 16 would have all new guys. Jimmy would make it a point to have in scholars all of new people to see. Because who imagined this? Go back to day one. Whoever thought sober people were coming in and looking like this, acting like this? I might have thought they looked like this. I might have thought they smelled like this. But I certainly thought if they did, they were dull. Just like in that chapter, Vision for You, it talks about, am I to be, am I to be consigned to this dull, boring, glum life? Because that's what I thought sober would look like, you guys. That's what I thought spiritual life would look like. I love the fact that we took this journey because it talks about having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. So if you knew, or if you fairly knew, or if you really just now getting a part of this way of life, what we have to offer in Alcoholics Anonymous, I can't tell you whether or not. We had a lot of talk, and it could be intimidating, you guys, but it could be inspirational. And take it inspirational. We had most of the speakers, Bob and Linda, they were on a panel. And they were talking about 54 years together as a married couple, Then you had Steve and Connie, and they talked about, their marriage. You had Tommy, and Tommy talked about, him and Cheryl and how strong that is. Then you had Marion and Pete, and they talk about entering into life. And somebody is sitting up thinking to themselves, damn, is that what is it? And that may be. And somebody is thinking, shit, I'm not going to have it like that. We can't promise you that. That's inspiration. That is evidence of what can happen in Alcoholics Anonymous. But we can't promise you the happy marriage if you get on this trail with us. We can't promise you a bunch of money. We can't promise you a hell of a career. We can't promise you the guy or the girl. We can't promise you whether or not the kids are going to be back in. We don't have nothing. What we can, what our stock in trade is, and what we can absolutely guarantee you, if you get on this path with us, you get a woke up spirit. haven't had a spiritual awakening. That's the payoff in Alcoholics Anonymous. Why the hell would I want that? What's the good of that? How is that beneficial? Haven't had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. Well, let's look at the record. 33 when I got here. Tore up. Overdose of religious education. Ain't trying to get with this power. Ain't trying to get with God. Never had a doubt about there being a God. I ain't trying to fool with him. Don't really need to. Come from a time and a place where, that's people trying to put you down. That's people trying to control your life. I look at all of, I think it was Pete that really pointed it out. You can go in Alcoholics and not, you can see all the other things that go on here. But before that, in life, I'm one of the ones, I've always been a watcher. I've always been an observer. I've always been a watcher and an observer. And I've always been an inventory taker, but never a mind, I'm one of them guys that's going to tell you who the preacher's sleeping with. I'm one of them guys that's going to tell you, Creflo, look at him. He on, Grandma, don't you send no money to him on, what are you doing? And there's still kind of, in we agnostics, when it talks about this, getting this, getting on the path, for this spiritual experience, which I didn't know whether or not I was signing up for. And we agnostics, it says, Ralph, the first thing you need to do in order to embark on this spiritual path, ask yourself what do spiritual terms mean to you. So I still ask myself that often because it's some stuff that still make me bristle. 35 years on this path. I'm still a baby on the spiritual path. My mom is 91 years old. Go to Bible study twice a week anyway. She on Zoom. She a Zoom baby right now. My mother's a dinosaur, but she adapted to that because she needs spiritual growth. She needs a food, and she's going to get it, and it's transmittable. And so my mom now is on Zoom almost every day doing that, and so she's still 91 years old. People say, I'm all over the place this morning, but I don't know why. I'm just going where we go. People be asking. I started a big book workshop in 1987 in November in my mama's house. It's some people here that I didn't know when we sat around my mother's dining room table, November of 1987, 3 guys hungry. Because I'm a hungry guy. I'm a guy. I'm not a spectator guy. I'm not a sit around guy. Some of it I can't take credit for, you guys. It's my blind spot in sponsorship. I always self-evaluate and I always self-assess because I need to know that. It's just like in any field in life. Doctors need doctors. Therapists need therapists. People need. And so as a sponsor, I look at myself and I look at my areas. And sometimes I get impatient with guys who don't want to go to me. Sometimes I get impatient with people who don't get all. And why would you not get, but what I don't understand, what I don't get, I'm the kind of person, if it ain't my experience, you lying about it being yours. I'm also the kind of guy, if it's my experience, that is the experience. That's why I love it coming here, because I listen, I think Pete, I think Steve, my sponsor hit a wall. Some people here were saying, man, I didn't hear the music when I first came. I was dry. I was this. And I used to scoff at that and be like, no, that ain't the message out. That is. That is. My experience was one that from the time I came here, I heard the music. I heard the music from the day. And you know what? That narrative is old because I didn't realize I came here 4 times. So the 4th time when I came so some of you guys just didn't leave and you heard it out while you were in here. My thing is I left. I'm all in. I'm either getting loaded or I'm getting sober. Bam. I ain't doing no in between. I'm doing all this or I'm doing all that. I'm not doing so that's the difference, I'm doing all this or I'm doing all that. I'm just that kind of guy. And so when I came back, I heard the music from the time I came. And my home group, 9604 South Figueroa in Los Angeles. If you go in Los Angeles, California, we're kind of a hotbed. We got so many meetings. We got meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. I come from a place where there's a blue book on every table of every meeting I've ever gone to. There are steps on every meeting. I've since travel throughout the country and learn that there are places that they don't have a blue book. That there are places where they kind of castigate you for talking about that book. I don't know that recovery. I come from a hotbed, and so my experience, is born of that. So from the beginning, even before I started reading that book for myself, they were all in meetings. It was always talking about this, talking about this, talking about this. And I'm an all-in guy, you guys. You guys hear from me all the time. I'm not a spectating guy. I'm not a guy on the sidelines. I'm not a guy. That's like me going in a bar looking at you drinking and thinking I was going to end up with a buzz. That don't even make no sense to me. Why am I going to sit up in a meeting and see you taking steps and think I'm going to end up recovered? Why be in a 12-step program and not practice the 12 steps? So I'm not a fence sitter. I'm not a guy, I always talk about it, our third tradition. We have a broad one. The moment I express a desire, the moment I express a desire to stop, I'm on the team. I'm on the team in Alcoholics Anonymous. That is it. That is all. And can't nobody put you out. I don't care what you do. Show your ass, don't. Curiously, in 2021, people would be aghast to see somebody drinking in a meeting. Well, you're in Alcoholics Anonymous. What the hell? They're drinking up in here. Yeah, it's alcoholics up in here. And people will want to put them out. That's, we don't want you. We really frown on you. We'll escort you out and talk to you. You need to come back and leave a brown bag in the car. But people will really be like, how inappropriate. So one of the speakers put it so clear. I'm so glad I wasn't expected to know how to act in Alcoholics Anonymous when I came to Alcoholics Anonymous. And I'm so glad. Folk, it trips me out sometimes. Folk will be standing up talking crazy about somebody. He untreated. Standing up in it. Well, if in your mouth you casting judgment, he's untreated, then why are you tripping about the actions that he taken that you claim are untreated? If he untreated, he's supposed to act untreated. What are you talking about? He untreated. They all up in here doing it. And what? We want people to go from A to Z without having to go B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and think miraculously because you come in here. Now, there is a power that is powerful. You see guys come up in here from the street, from the alley, dirty, unkempt, ain't dressed, and inside of 30 days, you'll see him shaving. You'll see him bathing. You see some power. When my sponsor was talking last night, because I used to marvel, I used to look at that sentence too when it says, when we straighten out spiritually, the mental and the physical are straightened out. I used to take issue with that too, because I used to say, wait a minute, the physical straightens out first. People still batshit crazy, but they looking good. They start sounding, but something But I used to think that's because I knew what spiritual looked like, and I thought it was the result of effort and hard work. But there's something about grace. We don't control it. We can't predict it. We don't create it. And we really don't invite it. If grace don't need an invitation, it just need an opening. That's the good news. Because every single one of us provided that opening. That's what alcohol does, cracks us. And I believe when desperation meets opportunity, there's a small window of grace that opens up. October 11th, 1986, I jumped through the window. And since I don't create the grace, it's been my job. I listened when we were listening to 10-11. Joe was sharing, and she was saying, be careful when you pray that prayer of what God is. And you know how a lot of times you'll say, okay, when you do, to be careful when you pray for something. Because God, and I started thinking about that. Be careful when you pray for something because God will do it. You know what? I don't know this business of prayer, and I don't know whether or not God always, at least based on what I think an answer is supposed to be. We were in my sponsee meeting a couple of weeks ago, and one of my sponsees says, the reason I have so much trouble with this business of prayer is it seems like God don't answer when I think he should. My issue is staying on his timetable. One of my favorites, long-term sobriety, really plugged in. And so it says, my issue is not that God don't answer prayer. Don't answer it in my time and the rest. And I started thinking about that, you guys, this business of prayer. And I think that prayer is mainly, for me, is positional. It's not really, I don't know that prayer will always change things for me, but it seems to change me for things. You know what I'm saying? It's positional. When people say, be careful what you pray for, because I think what ends up happening, because then people then start seeing the God in the prayer. And I think what's happening is kind of like, because God don't do one thing. God don't get swayed by Ralph saying, check this out. From this point forward, feel free to discount everything. Because when Ralph starts saying God does this, you can just discount that. But we're just having a conversation, so I'm just going to talk about what I think. What my overarching deal is, I have no idea how God operates. Let's put that as the overarching. And now inside of that, so we can have a conversation about my concept. So I believe that God just do one thing. He just keep guiding. He don't do nothing else. He just keeps sending grace. That's all God does. I was walking to a meeting. I was about 9 months sober. And this guy saw me. And he said, Ralph, what's going on with you? I said, I'm just doing God's work. He said, what you think you can do for God that God can't do for himself? That floored me. Because I thought I'd given the right answer. Because I'm the right answer guy, right? I always do. But I got trained feet in Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm going to tell you something. There's a value and a benefit to having trained feet. And what trained feet looks like in Alcoholics Anonymous for me is this. Number one, I step into my position. When I'm new, I'm new. I've been around here 35 years. I don't get up to a podium and say, whoever, if you got up 30 minutes before me, you more sober than me. I don't know what more sober looks like, but I know you don't have 35 years of living experiences. Why is it that anybody in here should do what it is that we advocate doing if you're going to look the same at 30 days as I look at 30 years? That don't even make sense to me. And I'm not saying that like it's a brag, but I'm saying I have a lot of years of living, and I step into my position. I'm not doing the false modesty to sit up here. So, stepping into that position means when I sit at a meeting of alcoholics, train feet. When I sit at a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, I like to be a representation of what Alcoholics Anonymous is supposed to look like. When I'm squirming at 30 days, that's different. But when a guy at 35 years is sitting up here talking when the meeting is, I don't do that. I don't talk on my phone. I don't take messages. I don't talk in the meeting. I sit at the front. I pay attention. I try not to. I was embarrassed when I came in late yesterday when my sponsor was speaking. So when you can't stop some stuff, you can't stop. I was asleep, got up late, bam, that's it. But I step into my position. I might be the only book somebody's reading. I have trained feet. I respect Alcoholics Anonymous. I respect the people who were here before me. I was a kid. I was a young gun. I was a gunslinger. I was one of the ones, you heard me, first get into the book. Yeah, it's quantity. It ain't quality. I don't care nothing about that. That old man over there that you think don't know nothing about the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous, he been making coffee and keeping the doors open for your trifling behind when you was out there doing what you do. You need to sit down. Step into my position, because that old man or that person that we sit up here and we think that everything that goes on in Alcoholics Anonymous takes place inside these rooms. Somebody that I'm talking crazy about, and I know the book, he changing his wife's diaper. He taking care of his mother and his mother or his mother-in-law. You sitting up here talking, you don't even know what these people are doing. They've been placed in a position, they are on their feet and they're doing some things. So, that's just my short version. I'm going to get off this soapbox in a minute. And I don't know what moved me to get on it, but, I just, so my feet are trained, is my point. And having trained feet and respecting my elders in Alcoholics Anonymous, when that old guy said to me, Ralph, what you think you can do for God, the God can't do for himself. And I said, wow. I said, okay, John, so what is it I'm supposed to be doing? He said, Ralph, God gave you something he didn't even reserve for himself. I said, what is that? He said, he gave you the choice over whether or not you're going to return his love. God don't have no choice. God is love. Your job is to do for God's kids. God's job is to do for you. Wow. He said, God don't do but one thing. God is love. So I think this business of prayer, you guys, I don't think when we say be careful what you pray for, that's a shortcut thing, and I don't dismiss it because it's got some value. I don't think nothing's wasted in God's economy. I don't scoff at slogans. When you start running and gunning, sometimes you can't help it. You want to take shots at. I heard y'all say meeting makers, man. No, meeting makers don't. Yeah, okay. What is a bad thing about that? 90 meetings in 90 days. Okay, it might be an incomplete sentence, but ain't nothing wrong with saying 90 meetings in 90 days. 90 meetings in 90 days. Just go, okay. I get it that it's an incomplete sentence, but if it's that person's experience, I want to discount it. If that's because on day 89, when they were just slogging along, and day 89, they're just slogging along, and on day 89, the speaker on day 89 is Amy. And I get lit up. And about and Jimmy, I know you didn't put me up here to be talking about this morning, but y'all take complaints to Jimmy. He knew when he got me up here, we didn't know what was going to happen, because this thing about spiritual awakening, you guys, it's so, because a lot of times, and I don't know why I got on this tangent, but how sometime when you begun and then people start debunking stuff and so busy it trips me out. What is a person supposed to say anyway? You ain't Peter. You can't talk like Peter. Everybody can't talk like Peter. But you ain't got to talk like Peter to walk like Peter. And you ain't trying to walk like Peter anyway. You're trying to walk your walk. You find your own walking out, and you'll walk your own walk, and you'll sing your own song. Now it'll start by walking like Tommy. It'll start by walking like that. It'll start with that. That's okay. Because when I was in the life, it started by trying to drink like Rock. My boy, and then, okay, that's how he do it. So we have sponsors. That's okay. That's how it'll start. And then that's like in music too. You got a musician. I'm trying to, and then you start writing for yourself. You get your own groove, so it'll start like that. But if you keep doing this thing, it'll stop being mechanics. It'll stop being mechanics. You will haven't had that, or you will have. That's what a woke up spirit will look like. A woke up spirit don't look like floating. A woke up spirit don't look like, oh, I don't make no mistakes. A woke up spirit don't look like, oh, I'm holier than thou. A woke up spirit don't look like I'm banging you over the head with a book. No, a woke up spirit don't look like that. If I come in here, I get a first step, bam, something wrong with me. How I know it's something wrong with me? Somebody was talking about reading the book, and some people read the book. The book tells me that we were in my workshop a couple of weeks ago, and we were in the fifth step, and it talks about psychiatrists or those that taught us we never told those people the truth. We don't tell nobody the truth. And somebody was sharing and was saying the book tells me I'm a liar. No, your wife tell you a liar. Your old lady tell you a liar. Your husband, your boss tell you a liar. Your kids tell you a liar. The book don't tell you nothing. The book just just describes what it is. The book, some people got together and they started. You know what? After those two guys got started looking for people like me and you back in 1935, in 1937, they sat back and they said, let's count noses. And they had a counting noses meeting. And they said, damn, it's about 40 people between Akron and Cleveland and New York staying sober. About 40. And Bob's looking at Bill, and they was like, damn, maybe we on to something, right? Because remember when Bill stood in that hotel lobby, he didn't have he had no body of work. He had nothing behind him. He had nothing. In fact, he didn't even have a program. He just had a dude that had an experience that was out there. So now he got a little group going. And in 2 years, they counted, it's about 40 people. And I like to think the New York Hustler must have said to the Akron physician, how we going to let Ralph White know when it's his turn? Bill Wilson said, we'll put it in a book, Dr. Bob, and the Akron people was like, you New Yorkers. And see, we up here and y'all part of town now. You New Yorkers, y'all always got this hustle thing going. You want to do, let's keep this simple. We don't need this book. We don't need, because, a lot of times people be thinking that this thing, this divine process was angelic and spiritual. Oh, it was some stuff going on, you guys. Just imagine who in here. And so they said, we'll put it in a book. And that was in 1937. Started writing that book in 38. It got published in 39. It's amazing to me who in here has 3 years sober? Not more than 3 years. Who has exactly 3 years sober? You and you. Okay, we want you two right there. We want you two. Who has less than 3 years sober? Okay, we want you two to take all these people whose hands are up, go outside, write a book that's going to save the rest of our lives. We laughed. But why do you think we're here? A guy with 3 years of sobriety. 3 years. I think it's something interesting about that. It's something instructive about that. Sponsors, old timers. Sometimes, I start thinking back and, they don't know nothing, and you don't know nothing for 5 years, and the fog don't clear. I guess the book was written in that fog. I think there's something about when you're 3, you nervous and you say, but you ain't, I don't want to say you ain't got sense enough to be scared, but the enormity of the task, you know what? Because at 3, that's when people jump on committees. That's when people tackle stuff in Alcoholics Anonymous. That's when people are on fire for Alcoholics Anonymous. That's when you just, you see possibility. You don't see the warts yet. You don't see the potholes yet. You don't get discouraged by knowing the enormity of the task yet. You know what I'm saying? Right now at 35, if y'all told me go, I'd be like, nah, that's a lot. Ooh, that's a lot. That's a little too, but 3 years sober. And so what they did, they didn't go out and write a book and then say, okay, Ralph, we going to write a book that tells you powerless over alcohol. No, because the book don't tell me I'm powerless over alcohol. Me being up until 3 or 4, me right now, this is Sunday morning, I'm still out if I got money. I'm stumbling out on a motel on Sunday morning with the buzzer going. I want to shoot the birds for singing. I see couples going to church and I see couples happy and it pisses me off. I don't want to be that way next weekend, but I am. Because it's something that's got me and it's got a hold on me and it's bigger than me. And so the book don't tell me I'm powerless over alcohol. My experience tell me My every weekend tells me. My day after day after day tell me. And so when these people got together, they all started sharing stories and said, damn, our combined experience shows us one thing we got in common with this alcohol thing. Once it's got a hold on us, we can't let it go. We don't even know why that is. Thank God a doctor came along and he gave it a name. He called it phenomena of craving. I don't have his phenomena of craving because Silkworth put it in a book. I got a phenomenon of craving because when I spend 20, when I spend my whole paycheck when I intended to spend 20. That's why I got phenomenon of craving, because when I stop off over here at Luke's house for just a couple of hours, I come home 8 days later. That's why I got phenomenon of craving, not because Dr. Silkworth wrote it. Dr. Silkworth described what it is that I have after listening and interviewing and seeing a bunch of people. I'm a guy, I love the fact it's in the book. It ain't true because it's in the book. It's in the book because it's true. A lot of people be reading the backwards. The book tells me, no, that I'm a liar. The book, no. Ask your mama. Ask your wife. You don't need the book to tell you you're a no. And where was I going with that? Why did I go down that road? So, this business is spiritual experience, you guys. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. So I do these steps, and so and you guys, we had a wonderful journey through these steps this weekend. And sometimes, Bo was sharing, people think we don't get the same. Sometimes we don't get a 12-step call anymore. And, I think still that is one of the biggest elements in the glue that holds us together. At least for me, it still excites me. I'm reading a text I got yesterday. I didn't see it till I got to my room last night. Hey, Ralph, this is John N. This is my new cell number. I hope you're well and sorry if this is a bad time. I went to Red Gate again and walked out again. Every time I'm there, I'm fine for about 3 days. Then my head just spins with ways to go get well, and I don't know how to stop it. So I leave without any thought past that moment of getting well. You're probably sick of hearing it by now, and I don't blame you. But I'm sick of this cycle, and if you tell me to do something, I'll do it. And whatever you suggest for those moments when my head is screaming, I'll be glad to follow the suggestion. It's just like it's too painful to be alive, and there's only one solution. And it feels like nothing takes it away. Anyways, if you have any suggestion, I'd appreciate it. Meanwhile, I'm going to a meeting with my mom. Then I don't know what I'm doing after. Thanks for taking my call so far anyway. His mom is one of us. And his mom has not only read that chapter, Working with Others, but she's lived it. And in that chapter, Working with Others, we get some instructions, still applicable in today's day. There are some things that people will tell you, they don't necessarily come directly from the chapter. The chapter doesn't say you can't work with family. But what the chapter says in one of the early paragraphs, maybe the first or second, is these are the conditions we find most helpful. No people to please. When it's family, I can't meet that condition. No axes to grind. When it's family, I can't meet that condition. No lectures to be endured. Inside my sponsorship, those are not necessarily sponsor qualifications, you guys, but they are still, all those are applicable inside a sponsorship. No axes to grind, no people to please, no lectures to be endured. That third one is the one I stay mindful of inside of my sponsorship. Our only desire is to be helpful. And so his mom, who's a longtime member of Alcoholics Anonymous, who's the daughter of an even longer time member of Alcoholics Anonymous, has the wisdom and probably the experience of trying to work with a son. So he's been calling me for the last, 2 months. Many do not comprehend that the alcoholic is a very sick person. Sometimes I don't. And I get reminders of why we do what it is we do, man. That I'm here on Sunday morning. I'm in my right mind and I'm in an upright condition. Jimmy can call on me, and he can call on me a year in advance, and doesn't that blow you guys away that they had a confidence that we'll even still be here? Something has happened. The power of alcoholics, and we trying to take for granted that we'll be around. And the good news is grace is so powerful that you can do that. And I get this call from this young man. And I don't know what the tug is like. He says it's like it's screaming in his head. And the one thing sponsors, when I was fairly new in sponsorship, I used to think I had to have an answer. I really confuse sponsorship with the God suit. Thin line. You know what I'm saying? It's easy. It's easy. Because they look at you they look at you like, okay, give me something. And the weight of that responsibility sometimes make you think you got to feel it when you can't. I can't give you desire. I can't give you surrender. And it hurts you. You want to put it in them. I want to find some words for, dude, you inside. I can walk. I can take 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. The one thing I can't give you is surrender. And I don't think that in my experience, I didn't surrender. I was surrendered. I'm not a surrendering kind of guy. I'm not a give up kind of guy. I'm an all-in kind of guy to the wheel, so that's me, And the wheels, they came off. They came off. And this, I don't know what to, but I stand at the door. I stand at the ready. And because I've been gifted, this Thursday, this 12th step, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, and I was listening again at 10-11 and said with new people, we talk to them about, you can start trying some of these practices, but when I get to the 9th step and I start getting that new address, when I start making amends, now I entered the realm of the spirit, right? That's that topic right there for me, being new, and what does that mean? And here he go, he getting ready to get lofty, and just the word, just the realm of manning up, just the realm of standing up, just the realm of being responsible, just the realm of being doing what the grown folks do. Being my granddaddy. My granddaddy was my guy. That's that's the benefit of a spiritual awakening, guys. My granddaddy was my guy. I didn't have a dad. My granddad was my guy. And he was my rock. And haven't had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. I'm somebody's rock. Got my grandsons. And I didn't come for the ripples, you guys, but I stayed for the ripples. I'm a visual person. And I think when we go to meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous, we think we come with just who we come with. If you come with your mate, you think you just came with your mate. If you came with your boy, you think you just came with your boy. If you came by yourself, you just came by yourself. But I see a little different. I see a little different. See, when I look out at the tables, every time I look out here, I see for each person that's here, I see them sons you were describing. When you come to the meeting, they're at the meeting. When mama's getting better, they get better. When we are at a meeting, I see some kids, because when I go to a meeting, they're at the meeting without them knowing it. They got a mom that's going to be at the parent-teacher conference. They got a dad that's going to show up at the game. They got something that's going to happen in their life that's going to give them something because we all know what it's like to have one of us that's practicing and that's active. And they'll never know what it could be like if we were not who we are right now. Some of us, they wouldn't even be on this planet. My daughter River wouldn't even be here. When you see me right here, you see little Artist Reed. You see little Errol standing there. You see my 91-year-old mom. Pete was talking about his dad. I see my mom at 29 years old smoking a cigarette. She's 91 now. She's not that lady. Her hand shakes. She forgets some things. Oh, but we've had a good 35 years. Me and my mama. We've had a good ride. She's got her sons. Best 12-step call I did with my brothers was not talking to them at all. Me and my brothers never, Leslie knows, because we all are. People be like, well, did she? And Leslie be so curious. Did y'all talk to each other? We don't. No. Ronnie, Reggie, Rod, me. We talk about games, we talk about sports, we talk about music, we talk about people in the fellowship. Yeah, we do. Yeah. All of y'all be back there, the white brothers, no, they just some guys that skin their knees and talk crazy. And you know what? We just some guys that fall. The biggest thing I found on this spiritual walk, you guys, people talk about their authentic self. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to get out from here. Because Jimmy, I don't know if I hit 12 for you. I just hit what it is we hit this morning. But people talk about their authentic self. I've been thinking a lot about that. What gets peeled away in Alcoholics Anonymous. Because spiritual life, you guys, like my sponsor said, it's not about acquisition. It's a different measuring stick than the rest of the world. In most other walks of life, it's quantifiable. You can quantify your growth. It's either inches, pounds, I don't call that growth. That's, Tommy, you said the panoramic, I got to get somebody with me, T. And a bank account, more zeros. It's quantifiable. Spiritual life ain't like that, you guys. Spiritual life is about, when you look at the terms in the big book that talk about spiritual, it talks abandon, ridding. So it's all about subtraction. It's all about diminishing. Here's the equation for spiritual growth. Here's the step 3 equation. The step 3 equation for off myself to be got off myself to be do me, leave me in the bondage of self. See, that getting old is old. I'm tired of it right now. But the whole thing is relieve me of the bondage of self. Here's the equation: grow God, shrink Ralph. Whole deal. Grow God, shrink Ralph. Whole deal. That's what we do. That's what the whole 12-step process is designed to do. Ego reducing series of exercises. When I'm gone, he's there. As I reveal myself to him, he'll disclose himself to me. That's the whole deal. That's it. You know, God ain't going nowhere. God is right there. It's just too much me between me and him, right? So that's the whole deal. So I've been thinking a lot about this authentic self. That's a good thing to talk about now. Okay, you getting free of the stuff that you're scared of. You getting free of these fears. You getting free of this false dude. You getting free of this image you've been putting out there. And you know what? I don't even know what that's supposed to look like. Because guess what? Some of what it is that I attribute to character defects, this fear what I think you think, and this need to be accepted. I get it. But when that's stripped away, I used to think that I'd be like this, really spontaneous, wild. Ralph ain't never going to be Leslie. And I don't mean it in a sex change way or anything. Leslie's an extrovert. Leslie's what? I'm a shy guy. My authentic self. The way I'm built and manufactured. When I was 3 years old, when they would ask me what I was thinking, I would think, what's wrong with me? Because nothing was in my head. I ain't thinking nothing. You know, has anybody ever said, what you thinking? And you be like, you got to be thinking something. Oh, no, I wasn't. As far back as I can remember. Now, that being said, I don't know how much of that is original manufactured design, or I don't know if there was some design flaw coming from when I don't know. I'm stopping tripping. I'm 68. I ain't gonna be life of the party guy. I'm 68. I'm not gonna be GQ model Pete. I'm 68. You know. You know, when I was a guy, when I'd be rolling with my boys in my crew, it would always be, you know, a pretty boy, somebody, or a guy that had the gift for gab, could take a girl in the corner and she'd giggle. And I went, damn, I wish I could make a girl giggle. I'm not Romeo. I'm not going to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm me. I'm me. I'm not the tough guy. I'm not the hard guy. I'm not the guy in the parking lot talking crazy. I'm me. I'm me. And I don't know what I'm even stopping tripping off what the real authentic me is. No, I'm me. I don't know how authentic or non-authentic, but looking for that, because as long as I can remember. So I was sometimes I was thinking, well, that can't be the real, because you still wrapped up, that's how I'm built. Oh, but what? But God has apparently done something with me. He's apparently done something with me. And I think he's done something with you too. We always want to be unique. I don't think we're unique. You ain't unique, but you're special. You the only you. Stop trying to be somebody else. Everybody else is taken. You the only you. You the only you. You know, and I know if you came here this week and you were kind of looking for people who were going to take you on a primer through the steps and the rest of this, what I think is I got a whole lot more than that. I got what this thing looks like with skin on. I got what spiritual experience looks like walking and talking. I got what spiritual experience looks like in the house, what it looks like in the workplace, what it looks like with my kids, what it looks like when times get hard, what it looks like when times get good, what it is, what spiritual experience walking really looks like. And the reason that I think I used to resist it is I thought I knew what spiritual experience was, and I didn't. It's a game changer. You know, I'm a guy, and that's my whole thing. I said it before. I don't spectate. I'm not on the sidelines. I'm not a fan. I'm not a commentator on. Put me in. Some people be like, and they, and be talking to me, Rob, put me in there. And the thing about in this game that we in, you don't have to wait on the coach, because there ain't no coach. That's the thing, sponsors. Don't be thinking, I'll be sponsoring, and as a sponsor, sometimes you be like, I'm talking down, It's like being in a hospital with an ass out gown. And see, when I be in the hospital with an ass out gown, and I've been in the hospital longer than you, all of a sudden my gown transformed into a doctor's smock. No, you in an ass out gown. Just because they give you the title sponsor don't mean you ain't got a gown on too. You know what I'm saying? Sponsors, quit tripping. Sponsors got that's why they got sponsors. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna shut up because I'm just all over the place, But I miss you guys. I really, really miss you, and so I just have been waiting to I've just been here having a conversation, talking. Clearly, it's been some stuff on his mind. He got to get up right. He just came up here and started just talking about stuff. Goddamn right. You my people, you my home, you my family, you what I did, I do. I was listening, Amy was talking, and Amy was saying, I'm an idiot, that's why I was sponsored. And then I said, but then again, that's stages of development too, because my sponsor, who is for me the wife, he's still sponsored. So this business of sponsorship has layers to it. The first layer for most people that's new is I don't know my way. I need a guide. I need a hand. But what about when you know your way? What about when you blaze a trail? What about, and my sponsor is one that he still believes, and I'm one. I don't believe I don't read my own press clippings, and I don't grade my own paper. And one of the things, the interesting thing, and I gotta have it. Because you know what God sounds. In the 11th step, we talk about being guided by intuitive thought, and now we'll come to rely on it. It'll talk about we'll pay for it at first when we first get new at it, but we'll come to rely on. So why, Ralph? Why you still need a sponsor since you can rely on this intuitive thought? Because you know what God sounds like to me when I'm done. He sounds just like this. He sounds suspiciously like me. So I can't discern me from me. I need a filter. Call it a sponsor. I need a filter. I need a guy. And guess what? Sometimes I get scared. A lot of people can say it's going to be all right. A lot of people can do this too shall pass. But when I call Bob Bazans and he says I'm safe. I'm good. I can call Jimmy, though, and Jimmy can sometimes say it. I can call it. That's what we do, man. But we don't do it by ourselves. And I am so glad to be in the company of. I miss you guys, as you can tell. I have been missing this. I've been missing the energy. I've been missing the interchange. I've been missing the interaction. It has been my great privilege and it has been my great pleasure, and I appreciate the invitation. And I hope I didn't. Chip. I'm sorry. I know I didn't. I hope I didn't embarrass you, but Jimmy, I appreciate it, and all you guys that have come up to me and have spoken to me, and on behalf of all the speakers that are here, we're doing the spotlight work. We're up here at the front, but it's not a unilateral deal from here. There's so much energy because communication is two-way. You got the sender and the receiver, and we got a great group of receivers in here today. And I want to thank you for my life. My name is Ralph White. I am an alcoholic.